Thanks for spending time with us. I'm Jack Newsmith, reminding you to stay vigilant.
Okay, that's a wrap, people. Production meeting in 5 minutes. Nice work today, Jack. Now, let's discuss how we're going to transition from Russia and the Mueller report to impeachment.
About that. Don't you think it'll be a challenge to capture it all and do it any justice? I mean, think about it. We'd have to mention Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2014 when they annexed Crimea using military force. That this military aggression is still ongoing. Military aggression. That's such a newsy way of saying Russia's at war with Ukraine, where so far 14,000 Ukrainians have died, more than 30,000 have been wounded, and over 1.5 million Ukrainians have been displaced. You know, in order to tell the whole story, we'd also have to mention that this move to invade Ukraine got Russia kicked out of the G8, which is why it's now the G7, and was the impetus for Putin's interference in the 2016 election. Oh, and by the way, the most deadly day on the battlefield was at the end of August. Ukraine was desperately waiting for aid Congress had already agreed to give them, but Trump instead decided to play politics with money just so he could try to leverage some dirt on Joe Biden. What a colossal dick. Sorry. You get all fired up when I talk about this stuff.
Hello, go for Jack. Yeah. Shut up. Okay, will do. Thanks for the tip. That was Corey, our DC correspondent. We've got to get back to the studio. Trump has just been impeached. Good evening, I'm Jack Newsmith, and we have breaking news. The president has been impeached 3 days ago. After days of anticipation, Trump won his first ever popular election when the House of Representatives voted on and successfully passed 2 articles of impeachment, making Trump the third president in U.S. history to ever be impeached, and earning his place on the Mount Rushmore of scumbag presidents in our kids' and grandkids' history books. And so you are probably asking yourself how we got from here to there. And in our last episode, we discussed the Mueller report in some detail. So here's how we get from Russia's invasion of Ukraine to the Mueller report to impeachment in 8 steps. Step 1, Russia invades Ukraine so it can build its oil pipeline and is then condemned by the international community and the U.S. as a result. Step 2, in order to continue its invasion and occupation, Russia needs a pro-Russian president and interferes in 2016 to get Trump elected. Step 3, Mueller investigation confirms Russia's interference in the 2016 election and Trump's obstruction of Congress. Step 4, Russia begins a massive-scale anti-Ukraine propaganda campaign. Step 5, the U.S. intelligence community repeatedly confirms that Russia is behind the anti-Ukraine propaganda and repeatedly reaffirms that it was indeed Russia who interfered. Step 6, in spite of all the evidence, Trump, Moscow Mitch, and other GOP surrogates begin parroting Putin's talking points. Step 7, Trump breaks the law by withholding congressionally approved funds for Ukraine in its defense of Russia's invasion. And Step 8, thousands of Ukrainians die as Trump withholds aid for illegal quid pro quo investigation of Joe Biden, which leads us to this moment and ultimately to impeachment.
The demand for an investigation into the Democrats was part of the reason that it was ordered to withhold funding to Ukraine.
The look back to what happened in 2016 certainly was part of the thing that he was worried about in corruption with that nation. And that is absolutely appropriate.
Withholding the funding.
Yeah, which ultimately then flowed.
To be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happened as well.
We do that all the time with.
Unfortunately, because there was so much criming to review, that is all the criming we will have time for today. But stay tuned, where we will tie in all the criming we covered here into the larger impeachment picture. Here's a sneak peek. Thanks for spending time with us. I'm Jack Newsmith, reminding you to stay vigilant.